Okay, we always start everything at Center for Spiritual Living with a spiritual mind treatment. So take a deep breath and let it out. And as you continue to breathe deeply, every time you exhale, let a little more go. Whatever it is, stress, concern, pressure, worry, anxiety, whatever it is that does not support your presence in the here and now, just let it go. The past is gone. The future's not here. This now moment is all that we have. And in this now moment, we have it all. And so we know that there is a power and a presence that is Spirit itself. It is the divine presence in, through, and as all. It is what everything is manifested out of. It permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. We are created out of it. It is us, and we are it. There is only one. We are powerful, creative, spiritual beings alive and well on planet Earth. All is well. And this night we open up to that magnificence, that grandeur that we are. We know that our lives are a perfect reflection of the world without, of the world within, and the world within is Spirit in form as us. So, we are perfect. We are whole. We are complete. We are filled full to overflowing in every area of our lives. And our lives reflect in prosperity, health, love, joy, success, happiness of all kinds. It's the only thing that can happen. And we live and move and have our being in the presence of the divine made manifest in form as our life. And so, we've got it all because we are all of it. And so with great gratitude for every moment of our life, for every thought, for every word, for every choice, for every breath, we simply release this treatment into all that Spirit is, knowing that Spirit is all, as together we say, and so it is. Good, good, good. Come in, come in, come in. So, did you miss me?
Yes. Did you miss us?
I was really busy.
Does that mean no?
No, I didn't miss you. I didn't miss you.
How was the snow?
We landed to 48 inches of snow.
Wow.
It was like the biggest snowstorm in 50 years or something like that. But the fascinating thing about Denver is that it's the high desert, and so it's very, very dry. And by the time we left on Friday, the snow had vanished.
Wow.
It just evaporates. They're really good at snow, so they plow the streets and clear everything, and then these big mountains of snow that if they were here, would be out here for months, are completely gone in a couple of days because they evaporated. It was very, very cool to watch, very fascinating. What was your homework?
Just read it.
And
Just
do
it.
Just do it. Just do it. So how are you with doing your exercises?
Not the best. Look at me.
Okay, that's good. Who said that? Good. Not your best. Who is doing any of the exercises? Great. How does that feel? Good. Good. Which exercise have you particularly enjoyed? Sitting in the quiet. That's way in the beginning. Yeah. Way in the beginning. Yes.
He needs the practice, yeah.
What other exercises are you doing?
Be happy with anybody.
Be happy with anybody. Gosh, that's so important. And how are you doing with that?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Can you switch that to a positive?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. There you go. Do you see the difference between not too bad and pretty good? This is all about the power of your thought and the power of your word. That is the master key, if you haven't figured that out yet. What other exercises have you done?
Gratitude?
Gratitude? Wonderful. And did you find that helpful?
Yes.
Good, good. I always find gratitude helpful.
Yeah, it really is.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
It reminds you that
Good.
it's a good thing.
Come on in.
Hi Barbara, making my occasional appearance.
Jackson Wright, holy moly. Talk about a blast from the past. Come on in, have a seat.
I thought I was supposed to meet somebody here, and I thought I was late, but really, I guess.
Well, obviously you were supposed to meet us. How about the exercise of recognizing that you are part of the whole and that the part must be the same in kind and quality as the whole? What, Michaela?
Gender.
Pardon me?
Not gender, no.
Sure. Everybody is part of the whole. Doesn't matter what your gender is. Everybody is the same. Let's just go on record with that. Everybody is the same. So what do you get from connecting to this idea that you are a part of the whole and that the part must be the same as the whole? Kate?
I find that when I sit and say, well, on that thought, I feel
You feel powerful. You feel powerful. It's like going out and watching a rainstorm or watching a waterfall. How many of you love waterfalls? Yeah, you go out and you feel the water. They say it's the negative ions. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think it's the moving of the water and the power as it falls and crashes. There's great, great power in that. So whatever it is that makes you feel connected, where you can lose your sense of self, that's a good thing to do so that you can experience being a part of a greater whole. And that connects you, it opens you, it makes you bigger, and Kate feels more powerful. So you may want to follow that lead. So there's another exercise that I'm remembering that is stop focusing on what you don't want. And I forget exactly how they worded that. But stop focusing on what you don't want. And my question is, how do you do that?
By focusing on what you do
By
want.
focusing on what you do want. And that's why we went over affirmations, and people had affirmations. And those brave souls that are taking it on as a challenge are doing that 1,000 times a day so that you don't have any time to focus on what you don't want. If you could see what happens when you think a thought, IBM took a picture of a thought leaving a head decades ago, 50, 60, 70 years ago. They took a picture of the energy that happens. After the synapses fire, energy is released, and you can photograph energy because energy and light are the same thing. And so they took a picture of a thought moving out away from someone's head. I know that that's linear, but indulge me for a minute. So what happens when the thought leaves the head?
It disperses into the universe.
I don't think it does. I think it becomes a creative force. I think instead of it just dispersing into nothingness, it becomes a seed. It becomes a force. It becomes an action to do something. So, indulge my fantasy. You think a thought, there it goes. It's flying out somewhere, somehow, doing something. What is happening?
It becomes a mold that the creative energy then can fill.
It becomes a mold
Yes.
so that the unformed substance of the universe can fill it. What else?
It magnetizes?
It magnetizes, and through the law of attraction, it brings all like particles to it. What else does it do?
It seeks to become a thought form.
It becomes a thought form. Right. What else? I want you to have an image of it. I want you to have something more concrete.
It makes grooves in the brain.
It does. It makes grooves in the brain, so so that the next time you think that thought, it's easier. It actually separates tendrils, neurotransmitters that have grown together, separates them and allows them to grow together with other ones that then form an easy pathway to think another thought.
So if we say, or if I say, what I focus on manifests, and then my thought actually creates. Did you just say that?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. And by saying what I focus upon manifests, then you're giving up to the natural process that what you focus on manifests.
Right.
And you're convincing yourself and you're bringing that along and supercharging the idea that what you focus on manifests.
Right.
What happens to other people with this thought that you have just thought?
Gravitate toward you.
Pardon me?
Those
Gravitate
people
toward you.
that are in harmony with that energy gravitate towards you.
Exactly. Those people that are in harmony with that energy gravitate toward you. How is it that when you go see a practitioner, they think a thought and something happens to you? How does that work?
I think it has to
Amanda says it's magic. Darcy?
It has to do with the vibrational frequency.
It does. Like Abraham says, raise your vibration. Raise your frequency. John quoted Sri Aurobindo a couple of weeks ago, transcendence transmutes. So you're raising up.
Well, and if everything is connected, then whatever thought that practitioner is putting out there has got to be connected to everything that brings it into form, into your life.
Exactly. And remember that for a unity to exist, it must exist in its entirety at every point simultaneously. Which means when you think a thought and it goes somewhere, where can it go other than everywhere? In all of its full orbed creation. And so if I'm thinking a thought towards you, it affects you and it affects your life. Have you ever noticed, I'll get right with you, Rick. Have you ever noticed that if you get upset with someone, it affects them? And if you are feeling very loving and joyous and friendly towards someone, it affects them? Rick and then Betty.
It's all one mind.
Right.
And so it's got to, it's like being in a pool of water with everybody else, out in, it's all just,
The butterfly flaps its wings in Japan, and the breeze is felt in California. Yeah, because it's all one. And that infers a distance, but what we know is that the butterfly is flapping inside a pond as whoever is feeling the breeze. Because it's all one, it's all right here, it's all right now. And I want you to, Betty and then Joe, I want you to start to move away from this idea of the process. That it's got to take a certain amount of time, things have to happen, the butterfly flaps its wings, but then that air has to go all the way across the Pacific Ocean for someone to feel it. No, it all happens simultaneously, right now, right here. Betty and then Joe.
I was just gonna say that when you're talking about how your feelings are reflect people around you. So I used to have very vivid dreams, and then for instance, my dream I had a fight with my best friend, and then the next day when I saw my best friend, the feelings would come up. Or I felt that I had an overwhelming love for a neighbor, and it was just acquaintance. And the next time I saw him, I'd feel all these feelings. So it was really kind of a mix-up sometimes to try to sort out. Oh yeah, that's because I dreamt about it.
Wow, cool. Cool dreams. Joe.
I was just going to say, it reminds me of the book, The Divine Matrix, when he talks about exactly what you're saying. There is no time. And that was one thing that I had to go over, that I thought I always took time to get something.
Right.
And I'm still working on it, but it's really cool that it just happens.
If it does take time, at the point of your knowing, the time has already passed. And I believe that we can go back in time and change the past so that our now moment has shifted by our knowing. And so it's a different way of saying the same thing. It all happens exactly in this moment because there is only this now moment. Darcy.
So when you talk about time, I think the thing that I've been working on is patience, because I know things are coming, but I don't always know the time frame or the way that they're coming to me. And I think, you know, in reading certain things, they say that sometimes things have to fall into place before the ultimate result ends up. So I've been working on patience.
You can work on patience, you can also work on accepting your good right now. And just being joyful.
Well, I do that as well, but
Okay.
I think, you know, I think as people, we have a tendency to expect things to happen right away, and sometimes they don't, and that's where I'm working on the patience, is knowing that it is gonna happen, it's just sometimes a matter of time.
So just from my own experience, instead of working on patience, you might want to work on your expectations and just be happy now. Because for me, and this is just for me, but for me, when I work on patience, I have to create something to be patient on,
Okay,
so I can work on it.
okay,
And if I want this person to do this, or this to happen, I want this thing to come through, because I want that. If I can just be happy right now, no matter what phase of creation that is demonstrating,
Right.
then whatever time it takes is happiness. It's great, it's wonderful. But if I'm waiting for this to come through and it hasn't come through yet, and so I'm working on patience, then I can drag that out for a long time just so I can practice patience. And I don't know if anybody else has that kind of mentality, but I do. It's like if I'm gonna work out, then I sure don't drag myself to some place that I'm gonna have to exercise. And maybe we could just circumvent that whole thing by just being happy right now and knowing that everything is in perfect order and perfect timing and all is well. Because that's what you want from patience, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah. So just go ahead and instead of working on patience, be how you would be if you had patience, which is fine with everything. Everything is great,
Okay,
everything is
okay.
okay.
okay,
For me, that's a shortcut.
okay.
Because I have a little tyranny person in me. that if I decide I'm gonna work on something, plus, you know, this need to overachieve, then I'm gonna work on it really good. And I'm gonna create a lot to work on it with. So we don't have to go there. Who had their hand up over here? I thought that was you.
I don't struggle, but I go back and forth sometimes on the instantaneousness, the immediate, and then being a neutral and seeing that everything happens in its own way. There's always a season for this, and just let it happen. You know. So it's like I see the instantaneous to me as more of a forcing, but if
No, it's just already happened.
Right.
That's your knowing that it's done. It doesn't matter if you don't see any evidence at all in the world without that justifies or verifies that. You are crystal clear, knowing inside of you that it has happened. There's a quote from Flagler, the Standard Oil bigwig, the guy who put the railroad all the way down to Miami, Flagler. He said that the way that he attributed his success to the ability to see something in its finished form. And the person interviewing him was saying, so, well, tell me, did you really see the train tracks? And he said, yes, I did. Did you really see the train on the train tracks? Yes, I did. Come on, did you really see it blowing its horn and going down the track? And he said, I saw it perfectly clear. And how many years did it take him to build his train? A long time. But through the whole process, he saw the finished result, and that opened up the doorways of creation to have that manifest. And I think that's really important that we learn how to be in the finished state no matter what is occurring through the whole process. You know, it's like when you go to, and I'm just using practitioners because this is your field. When you go see a practitioner and they do a spiritual mind treatment for you, they don't end it up by going, well, I hope that happens. Or I kind of got halfway there, so let's see if we have a halfway demonstration. They don't say, good luck, maybe it'll work. They hold themselves to that standard where they are crystal clear that they know that it is already done no matter what. And that knowing is the thought that then goes out in whatever way you want to look at that, to mold, to attract, to manifest into form that which has been known. And that's why it gets to be so important not to allow yourself to indulge in negative thinking. Not negative thinking about your own life, that gee, this isn't going to work out, things aren't happening the way I think they should, but negative thinking about anything. Negative thinking about the world, negative thinking about what people are saying next to you. No negative thinking, because that's going to bring into your experience negative experiences. And you don't want to do that. And if you have negative experiences in your world without, all you have to do is look inside of you and say, maybe not where did I think that exact thought, but where did I hang out in that vibration? Where did I go to lack of limitation, fear and upset, drama, trauma, all of that, because that triggered off my subconscious, which triggered off race consciousness, which allowed that to show up in my life. And so we become disciplined in our thought. And one of the things that my Cherokee teacher, Will Rocking Bear, used to say was that if you don't handle something with someone correctly, you have to go back to that person. Bring it up all over again. His correctly was, did you say what you meant to say? Were you clear? Are you finished? You know, are you still carrying that around? Or he called it having dead bodies in your yard. Do you have all of that unfinished business going on? And if you do, you have to go back to the person and clean it up so that you will be clean and clear. And I think that if we have a thought that we haven't handled correctly, we have to go back to that thought and say, wow, I thought all was lost, it was terrible, and I'm going to rethink that. I'm going to clean that up so that I have a clean and clear energy inside of me. I'm going to go back and rethink that. And if you do that enough, I know with people, I got really tired of bringing things up with people that I should have brought up on the spot, but I was too afraid, so I just swept it under the rug and hoped it all would go away, which it didn't. I got tired of going back and dragging all that stuff up, so when it came up, I realized I was going to have to handle it right now, or I was going to have to go back to it in a few weeks, and it was easier to handle right now. So the same thing happens with yourself. If you know you're going to have to stay up an extra hour and rethink things before you go to sleep at night and get your thinking in order, then you'll be more aware of stopping the negative thinking when it happens and rethink it right there. All the way from slamming on your brakes at a red light and cursing that the fates are against you ever getting anywhere on time, and if that person had just moved a little faster, you could have gone through, something like that, where you have to go right back through it. Pull up to the red light, affirm that you're always in your perfect and right place, doing exactly what you need to be doing at the moment you need to be doing it, that you are completely loved and supported by all of life, because that's all that there is, and that your world unfolds in perfect timing and perfect harmony. So you can either do it right then and there, or you can do it at 12:30 at night when you want to go to sleep. It's totally up to you if you want to change the way you think. And then what you learn is that as the light turns yellow and you slam on the brakes and you go, oh, okay, this is okay. It's only a yellow light. It's only a red light. It's only a light. Come on, it's only a light. I'm giving all my power and energy away to a light. Come on. Everything is in perfect order. I am loved and supported by all of life. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to choose to stay in my peace and my love and my joy. And then the light turns green, because what else do you do at a red light? And off you go. Consider becoming the master of your thought. And then choosing the words wisely that hold the thought. Charles Haanel talks about how the word is the vessel that holds the thought. And I thought that was so beautifully put. What's your vessel looking at? Well, I'm choosing to succeed. Well, are you choosing to succeed with a lot of struggle vessels? Are you choosing to succeed with some ease and grace vessels? Are you choosing to move forward in beauty? Are you choosing to move forward in some kind of limitation? What kind of vessels are you choosing for your thought? Because that's what you're going to see, and that's what's going to hold the thoughts that come out of your mouth. You may want to practice coming up with some words, some vessels that you like, and adopt them. Fantastic. What is your word, Margaret? How are you?
Fabulous.
I'm fabulous.
Fabulous.
You picked that word.
Spectacular.
You picked that word one year, that was going to be your word of the month or word of the year, and you just kept it.
Yeah.
Fabulous. What's a word? What's a good word for you to include in your vocabulary, in your lexicon, so that you are having the kind of vessel hold the thought that you want to see come into form? Did I have you, Troy?
Yeah.
And then was that Jack?
Yeah.
Okay, Troy and then Jack.
Well, the word, for me, is meditation. And it's to calm, to focus, and to quiet. And if 10 people can desire and want, but if people are doing it with a monkey mind all over the place, nothing's going to connect, or everything's going to be bouncing off the walls. It can't succeed. But
Until they master that.
But to focus from within in a clear, concise way.
Right.
Through the ability that you get through meditation or something like it. Mindfulness. Operating.
It's all about the being. It's all about the world within. And how can you discipline yourself to be in charge of your world within? To be captain of your ship, for you to determine your destiny, for you to chart your course. How can you do that so that the direction that you're going in is the direction that you want to go? Meditation is great because it separates you from the reactive mind, from monkey mind. And it allows you to think about what you're thinking about. That's what mindfulness means. You're thinking about what you're thinking about. And that is separating you from reacting to any stimulus. And so you get to choose. You get to chart the course. You get to be the captain. I like being the captain. Hold on, Jane. Jack, welcome to the class.
Well, welcome to the class, and it's very nice, new expression of a lot of stuff that's very important. His word leads into my word, which is compassion, as in loving, kind compassion with self and others.
Yes, yes. Living in a world of love means that you have compassion for yourself and compassion for other people, and that keeps you from reacting to a light that is simply turning yellow. It's funny how we love yellow on the sunrise and we hate it on the stoplight. Jane.
Well, again, I'm always thinking of fantasy. And I just, is it possible, I mean, if you have like a huge dream that has nothing to do with what's going on in your present day life, but you want to do this dream, but it's just so far away from your...
Are you talking about a sleeping dream or a dream of how you want your life to be?
A dream of how I want my life to be.
Wonderful.
Oh, it's terrible.
You know, that's why most people don't allow themselves to dream. They don't allow themselves to want, because there is that tension between what is now and what they want to have, or what they feel intuitively will happen. So I celebrate that, and you can't convince me that it's not wonderful. Who had their hand up? Who are you pointing at? All the way over here, but somebody over here had their hand up too.
I had mine.
Okay, we're gonna go April, Breezy, Joe, and then who? Okay.
My word would be magnificent.
Yay. So do you use that a lot?
Yes.
How are you? I'm magnificent.
I am magnificent.
How's your day going? It's magnificent.
I look at myself in the mirror and say that I'm magnificent.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Those are evocative words. They evoke a response in you. That's why I never want you to copy me and try to sound like Barbara. Those are my words. You need to find your own words that you go, yeah, about. Breezy.
Mine was going back to the gentleman with the railroad. I just
Flagler.
Flagler. A question, because you said he was very specific on what his vision was and saw, but I thought, and maybe I misunderstood, that you've said previously not to get too specific because you may be limiting.
Oh, I'm not sure that he knew what kind of nails were going in the railroad, but he knew there was a railroad there with trains going on it.
Yeah,
And that's what he was going to do, and that's what he did.
okay. But how is that different than when you said, like, we'll use the example because it always comes up, about the lottery, you know, don't limit yourself to just winning the lottery.
Because what
you know.
people want when they win the lottery is they want what they think money will give them. They don't want a lottery ticket. If you dropped it on a deserted island and said, here's the winning lottery ticket, that's not what they want.
Yeah.
And they don't even want the money. They want what they think money is going to give them. They want the freedom. They want the sense of being able to bring their big dream true. They want whatever it is they think money is going to give them, that's what they want. So that's what I would go with. I know I have freedom right here and right now. I live my life in freedom. I am a free being.
Yeah.
I go where I want to go. I do what I want to do. I buy what I want to buy. I am who I want to be. I am in control of my life. I am the one who decides it, not money, not a ticket, not any of that. So if you're the one who's going to decide it anyway, decide it. Go for it. Joe.
This kind of touches with quantum physics a little bit. I recently read it in a book, and I wanted to maybe get your take on it. The now, right now, isn't this the past? Like, so the universe can see itself and then kind of adjust, and we get the chance, we get the gift to actually see ourselves as we are right now, and then be able to adjust.
I have to go even farther than that.
Okay.
Because the now, in the way you're looking at it, is a point in the space-time continuum, which is simply one aspect of reality. There is so much more that goes on all around here that has nothing else to do with those, maybe a bunch of universe layers of life and other Barbaras and other Joes and all kinds of stuff going on now. But in this moment, might it be that the universe turns around back on itself and is able to experience itself? Sure, why else is there time and space unless it's for experience? Why are we here? I don't know, but you might as well make the best of it. You know, if you're going to experience yourself, if God as you is going to experience itself through this point in time and space, make it good. Make it be a really good experience.
I also wanted to, talk about big dreams and stuff. Now, if you could feel it inside and see it, isn't that the universe trying to express itself through you? Doesn't that mean that it's already done and you can do it? Like,
Of course.
Okay.
Because
Like, I'm talking huge.
Because in an infinite, there cannot be any space that doesn't exist. So in order for an infinite to be an infinite, it has to be full. Otherwise, you have an infinite and the place where Joe's dream doesn't exist, right? So if Joe can think it, it exists. Think about that. If you can think it, it exists. And once again, this brings us to a mindfulness of compassion and peace, that when we go to war with anyone in our head, it exists. When we wish harm on anyone, it has been done. And so it's very important that we allow ourselves to take the high road, to breathe, to stop reacting, to choose our vessel, to create the attraction, the mold, the whatever of our creation, so that we are not taking that energy and using it for harm, because that harm will turn right around and come back on us. And you know people like that who are just awful people, and they have awful lives. You know, why is the fifth wife leaving you? Maybe because you're just a nasty person. And so let's not do that. And Robert Bitzer said, we do not sacrifice principle even on special occasions. Even when it seems like we should be justified in being upset, in being angry, and being hostile. I remember when 9/11 happened, it is one of the few times that people in this room have screamed at each other. And that's because they were just tuned in to that race consciousness of fear and anger. And so whenever we're around something like that, it's important for us to be mindful, to take charge of ourselves, to take an inventory of ourselves. What is going on? Well, my heart is beating really fast, and I'm sweating, and I'm tensed up. Okay, well, your reptilian brain, how much do you want that to live out? Your reptilian brain has been triggered. Your fight or flight response is in full gear, and you are about to get hurt. You think you're about to hurt, but you're really about to get hurt. Because you cannot hurt anyone or anything outside of you without getting hurt. Because it's all here and it's all now. I remember learning very early on in my ministry that if you draw a line in the sand and declare war, you have already lost. You've just already lost. Because the very act of drawing a line in the sand and declaring war is a losing proposition. You have lost. So don't draw the line. Don't jump into the reaction. The best thing to do if you're freaking out is to breathe. If you breathe, it gets oxygen to your brain, because remember, once the fight or flight response has triggered off, the body takes all of your blood and shoots it out to your arms and legs so that you can run fast and fight strong. And you have no blood in your brain. So the best thing you can do is take a couple of breaths. And what that will do is that will stop the biochemical response. It'll give you a minute to get yourself together, and it will send some oxygen and some blood back into your brain so you can go, wait a minute, I don't want to do this. I'm a love muffin. I'm a peace finder. I don't want to do this. And so then you don't. But if you just jump in, and most often I find people do that when they feel justified. Well, they were hurting the puppy, or they were yelling at their child, or they were emitting carbons into the atmosphere, or they were wearing leather. You know, I have a fur coat. I'm not always comfortable wearing it out in public here, because there are stories of people taking gallons of paint and throwing them on people who are wearing fur. And I love my fur. It was a gift. It was a creation. It was magical. It's wonderful. And yet, some people feel justified that because it's fur, that they then can do some harm in the name of a greater good. You know, the ends justify the means. I have not found that to be true. I have found that the means is what gets you to the end. So as you're looking at your thoughts, and as you're listening to what you say, as you're choosing what music to listen to, what people to talk to, what to do with your time, your brain time, so it doesn't just get scattered all over everywhere, then it's important to have that level of control so that you can direct it where you want to go. It's kind of like getting in a car, turning on the key, putting it in gear, and not having a steering wheel. I mean, really. Or having a steering wheel, you know, like when it locks and you can just turn it a little tiny bit. Driving down the road, just being able to turn it a little tiny bit. No, you don't want that. You want full control of steering the amazing power of Spirit as you in your life. So he does say to visualize. He says that there are 3 steps in creation. He says one is idealization, having an ideal, having a dream, having a thought, a really big dream. The other one is visualization, seeing it come through. And one of the things about visualization is not that you put a picture in front of you or in your head and then it pops out as the thing, but that when you can get an image of it, you're convincing yourself that it's possible. When you can get an image of something, all of a sudden you're open to these ideas of how can this be? Well, can you see it? Yeah, I can see it. I love one of the questions, I don't know who it is, one of the big self-help teachers says, do you think that it will ever be? Can it be? Is it possible that what you want will be? And oftentimes, she's talking about forgiving someone or releasing something. Is it possible for that to happen? Well, sure, it's possible. Do you think that it will ever happen in your life? Well, yeah, I can see that someday it might happen. Well, if it's possible, and if it can happen, then how about having it happen now? And that is a little trick to get your head to wrap around it instead of, oh, it's just impossible, just nail the door shut to that manifestation. That's not gonna happen, never gonna happen. Never, ever? Well, might it? Is it possible? Could it happen? And then once you're at it could happen, and yes, it will happen sooner or later, then you're at, well, why don't you let it happen now? Could you let it happen now? Laura.
So, I see idealization as the dream, and then visualization is like how it's going to happen.
No, visualization is just that it happened.
Okay.
Just the train at the end of the track. Not how it got built, not how you got through the mountains, not how you got the money to do it. Just there's a train at the end of the track.
Okay.
And then the other one is materialization. And he says that's when it shows up in form. But you've got to have an idea, and you've got to have some sense that it's possible, which is what I think the whole idea of being able to get a picture of it is. And that's obviously written for people who are visual. If you're not a visual person, you might have a sense of it. You might feel it. You might hear it. You might know it. It doesn't have to be a visual image that you see. But what you do is you get to a state where it's real for you. You can smell it. You can touch it. You can taste it. It's real for you. And then the universe manifests that into form. Good tools. Good tools.
Say materialization again. That's us.
No, that's the universe popping it out. That's you're clear in the world within. That this is your dream. You know that it's real, it's happened, and boom, it pops out. It either pops out instantaneously, which we all love, or it pops out in time and space, which then we choose to be happy and experience the benefits of that, even though we're not holding it in our hand yet. Do you remember the story Edwin Gaines told about the olives with almonds in them? No. One of her early stories, I've known her for 40 years, one of her early stories of her prosperity workshop was when she was in ministerial school at Unity in Texas, and she wanted to go on a trip, and she had a friend, and they decided to play act that they went on this trip. So her teacher before this had told her to go to the grocery store, because that's where her issues were, and buy something that she believed rich people ate. And so she's going up and down the aisles looking for what in the world do rich people eat. And she figured that rich people ate stuffed olives. And back then, the only thing they had stuffed olives were olives with almonds stuffed in them. Now you can get great garlic stuffed olives and all kinds of other things. But back then they had olives that were stuffed with almonds, and she'd put them in her fridge and was terrified of opening it. Because you know, when you're set in your ways of being poor, then breaking out of that is a scary prospect. So she was afraid to open it. And her friend was talking to her about wanting to go to Mexico, and Edwin was saying, oh, I want to go to Mexico, and Edwin was an art major, so she knew a lot about art in Mexico, and they started talking about it, and they decided to play like they were going on this trip to Mexico. And so she was living in an apartment that had a pool. They went out by the pool, said, oh, isn't it beautiful and warm Mexico? And Edwin got her olives with almonds in them, and the friend had a bottle of wine that she had stuck in the refrigerator, probably until it had aged appropriately, although if it's refrigerated wine, it's not a good thing. She had this old, nasty bottle of wine, and pulled it out, and they sat out there and they talked Spanish. They talked about Mexico, they talked about where they'd been, where they were going. They got a little drunk, which altered their consciousness and probably made them a little more receptive to the game. They ate olives stuffed with almonds, and they were in Mexico. They were in Mexico City. They were there. And as the story unfolds, they ended up going to Mexico. The friend had her mother pay for it, and we went over to her mother at the very last minute, days of travel agents, and we're gonna let your ticket go if you don't pay for it. Go over to Mama. Lonnie's mother bought her a ticket, and her mother said, well, that's lovely, what are you gonna do? And because she'd gone over to her mother asked her to go out, any of you live out in the country, out the long driveway to the mailbox out by the street. And she said she never got mail at her mother's house, hadn't gotten mail at her mother's house for 10 years. Got the mail, and there was a letter to her from someone she had lived with in college, and they had scrimped and saved and bought their furniture at Goodwill or wherever was available there, and that the woman had sold it years later and said she just didn't feel right about keeping all the money, and some of those were antiques, and they had gotten quite a bit of money for it, and here was a check to the penny of what the trip to Mexico cost. To the penny. To the penny. I'm not telling you to go out and get a bottle of wine, but if you can get yourself there in the world within, the world without will show up. If you can see it, if you can feel it, and this was an instance where they were hearing it, they played mariachi music, they spoke Spanish to each other, they tasted it thinking that this is what people ate, and she said that there was actually a meal in Mexico where the hors d'oeuvres were olives with almonds. And so she thought it. She embraced the opportunity to have it. She tasted it. She heard it. She felt it. They were tipsy. They were laughing. And Abraham says, you get that laughter going, you're raising your vibration, have a better thinking thought, have the law of attraction bring that in. And even all of her freak out about how she didn't have any money to go. She barely had the money for a bottle of olives. She didn't have the money to go. How was that going to happen? Didn't stop the creative forces of those thoughts that went out from her and did their work in manifesting that trip in her life. And the thing that touches me so much is that it was to the penny. To the penny. Yeah. So whatever it is we hold within us, we hold without. And a good rule of thumb is to look at what you're holding without. Are you holding a car that doesn't run, or a job that you don't like, or problems in your body, or not enough money? If you're holding those things on the outside, you're holding them within you. And if you're holding them within you, even if you're going, I don't do that, I do my spiritual practice, I don't do those affirmations, I don't do that. Yes, you are. And sometimes, what is it in AA? You have to take a fearless and moral inventory. Sometimes you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, somewhere in me, I am thinking a thought, or I am holding on to a belief that is causing this in my life. What is that, and how can I stop it? How can I stop it? Well, all of the men in my family had this disease. Well, all of the women in my family had this disease, and I'm getting this disease. How can you stop that? How can you stop thinking that thought? And the outside will change. There's always more month left at the end of the money. Well, who did you hear say that? Was that something that your parents said? Was that something that was a reality in your life? How can you change that? If you just turn your head to it and go, oh, well, maybe it'll just go away if I say, I know that I always have more than enough. I know that I always have more than enough. Oh my God, it's the end of the month, and the end of the month always has more than money. You gotta make that bridge. You gotta be able to look at yourself honestly and say, that is not true. My parents' creation was their creation. It's not my creation. I was an innocent little child just crawling around on the floor listening to all of this stuff. I don't need to hold it anymore. I can live in an abundant universe. Laura.
How do you feel about budgeting?
We have a budget at the center. We don't keep to it real well. Because if we have more money, we spend it. We're not going to say, oh, we got in an extra $50,000 and we're not going to spend it just because of a piece of paper. But we have a guideline of what we're targeting, and if we are way over budget, then we look at how we can pull ourselves back into balance. So if budget is used to balance, that's great. If budget is used to punish, I would recommend not doing it. But then you have to do things like balance your checkbook, know what's happening with your money. Some people come into this teaching and honest to God, they believe that as long as they have a check, they've got money. And we say, well, who balances their checkbook? Oh, I don't deal with that petty stuff. You know, I always know that the universe provides. I had one person come to my office once and sat down and said, I've been doing everything you said and this doesn't work. And I said, well, tell me more. Tell me what's going on. And she said, I have $40,000 in debt on my credit card. I said, I never told you to charge it. I never told you to charge it. You get to the point of manifestation where it's a little uncomfortable and you copped out and whipped out the plastic. Spirit doesn't demonstrate by needing plastic. You may use plastic as part of the flow of the money in your life, but Spirit doesn't need your plastic. You needed your plastic. And now that they've cut off all your plastic, you're worried. I said, great. Now you can really step out in faith and not only demonstrate what you want to live an abundant life, but pay off all the plastic. And that did happen. But some people think that just because we're saying we are abundant beings living in an abundant universe means you don't have to count your money, you don't have to balance your checkbook, you don't have to think about what you're doing. That's not true. For that matter, being mindful and bringing that mindfulness into your money is a really good idea. I am a stickler for those of you who still carry money of having your money organized. The same way I say don't wad up your cash in the baskets. Don't fold up your checks and crumple them and sweat on them. Have a little respect for your money. And what I recommend people do is that you take your bills and flatten them all out and put them in order of denomination so that you know how much money you have. Whenever I see somebody put their hand in their purse and pull out, you know, just wads of miscellaneous money. Well, let me see how much money I have. Well, how much money do you have in there? I don't know. There's a general sense of almost like shove it in there and get it away from me. They used to tell me when I was a kid that money burned a hole in my pocket because I just couldn't wait to get rid of it. And so when we shove it in our purse or our pockets or something like that, it feels to me, and you may disagree, but it feels to me like we're trying to get rid of it. And so respect it, love it, straighten it out. Sometimes if I get nasty money, I'll wash it. There's nothing wrong with laundering money.
One of the things I actually came across not too long ago was if you can say, or if you can't say, I love money and money loves me without feeling guilty, you need to work on that because
Right.
you need a relationship with your money. You need to love some. If you don't love someone and you actually tell them, you disrespect them like that, they're not going to come back around.
Right.
They're going to stay away from you. So,
Right. Check
and
out your
it
guilt
works.
level.
I like Uncle Ben.
Check out your guilt level. One other thing that I'll just throw in there, in terms of money, if you have issues with money and you feel like you don't have enough, take whatever money you have to the bank and turn it all into $1 bills. And then carry them. Put them in bed with you. Sleep with them. Become intimate with them. Get used to having cash. I know that people of a different generation, I will say, does a lot on debits. One of the things that we have done is print out our mortgage bills and white out the balance and stamp paid in full on them because for me, that means something. And so whatever it is that has you feel like you have a lot of money, stuff your pockets with money. Don't do it randomly in wadded up forms. Put them out nice and neat, but put a big wad of money. Do you remember the mafia scenes of the old movies? They always had a lot of money. They had a lot of money. Money meant something to them. So see how you feel with that. And you can always go to the bank, and if they give you dirty or wrinkled or torn bills, tell them it's a present, which it is for you, and give it back to them and have them give you really pretty bills. Joe?
One of the things that I'm going to begin doing is you can get the $10,000. You get a singles, like you said, and get nice crisp singles, and then get $200 bills, and it'll be a $10,000 stack.
Right.
And you get the band and everything for it. You can just ask them right there, do you have a $10,000 stack band, and they'll give it to you, and you just play with that, play with that.
Sweet, I've never thought about that. I like to collect $100 bills. And I
That's a good thing to say.
particularly like the new ones that have the band on them. Some people are all, oh, the man is watching you. Watch away, you know? I love it. They're pretty, they've got blue and all kinds of things. So whatever you can do to impress upon your subjective that you have a lot of money is a good thing to do. And if you have some guilt come up, be very conscious of that. What's up with that? How's that working for you? Are you having a lot of money and feeling guilty about it at the same time? No. So what can you do to heal that? What can you do to release that? What can you do to change that? One of the things that I did a year and a half ago when I went to a workshop with Edwene is they put us in a plastic child's pool on a folding chair. And then she had, I don't know how many stacks. Do you remember how much money she had with that, Lynn?
I think it was 1,000 or 2,000, 1,000 I think.
1,000 per stack?
Yeah.
So we had a lot of stacks of money. And we would sit there and people would take all of that money and just rain it down on us. And I'm sitting there and just money just coming down. Then they'd pick it all up from the pool and rain it down on you again. And as you look up, there's just all this money falling down. It was fantastic. And it felt very real to me. I've never been in a place where money just rained down on me. It was great. There was a lot of hysterical laughing, and it was great. But whatever it takes for you to feel like not only you can have money, but that you have a right to have money, that yes, sooner or later you will have money. So how about having money now? Whatever it takes to move you down that path is a good thing for you to do. Very good thing. Anybody else about money? We've got a prosperity class coming up on in July. I think our fire walk is on July 18th. If that's a Monday. If anybody will check with me, that's great. July 18th, we'll do our fire walk and kick off our summer prosperity class. And before we break, just a little
17 would be Sunday.
well, that's when the prosperity class is, a Monday. So on July 18th, we've got the fire walk, kicking off the prosperity class. And for those of you who are members and have not registered for the ownership and spiritual community class on Saturday morning, this coming Saturday, please do. It's a very important class. It teaches you a lot. It moves the consciousness of the community on into a really better way to be. So thank you for that, and let's take a break. The PowerPoint Sunday to put my talk title on it, and I was locked out with a password. It was great. I said, well, I'm gonna go home. I've got my talk. They can worry about the title slide. One reminder, this Wednesday, Rob Morgan will be here at 7, but that is his last day at the center. After that, he will be found over at Unity of the Blue Ridge out in Mills River. All is love. So of course he loves us because we are created out of love. Yes. I think he got a better deal, you know, that's all. So Unity is not far away.
Is that Chad and Light?
Yes, but Chad's gone and Light no longer works there. Christy's over there.
Christie?
Uh-huh.
No kidding.
Yeah, our Christy. Oh, yeah. She moved there pretty quick. Spreading light, spreading love. So if you're interested in having a local experience for Rob, come Wednesday. And other than that, you can drive out to Mills River. Yes, Joe? 7. And the way it's been working, but I don't know if it's going to be that way this Wednesday, but the way it's been working is people who come early and fill out the form go up on stage.
No.
Jane, you've been up there.
Well, I have signed up about 10 times before.
And sometimes you have to sign up about 10 times, but the way it's been working lately is that if you come early, fill out the form, chances are very high that you'll go up on stage, especially if you're a man. He's always looking for men. So I don't know if that's gonna be the case this week or not, I'm just telling you. I don't know what's going on. All we provided was the space, and we enjoyed it and celebrated it, and now we're not doing that, so I don't know nothing about nothing. Right, Wednesdays. Bob, did you have your hand up? Okay. Betty? What do you mean, a healing circle? Other than the health fair that we did? Wouldn't that be a great Sangha circle? Yeah. So come on Saturday, where we talk about how those kinds of things emerge and why they're so important. Yeah, why they're so important. And one of the things that I like about our structure that has come through these classes is that you don't have to be a practitioner or a minister or somebody like that to be in leadership and to run something. So you can have a Sangha circle of people who do healing. It'd be great.
Is it 10 to 12 on Sunday? Or?
It's Saturday, and it's 10 to 1. 10 to 1. Eva.
Is next Monday, did you say that was our last one?
Next Monday is our last class. Is the camera running? Who's in charge of the camera?
Turned it on, I'm turning it off.
So she's just gonna, so Devon, this is about where you want to edit it. Which she'll be doing in real time. She'll be watching it. Just if we don't turn it off and then turn it back on again, she's got to go through the whole 2 hours and find where to edit it. So, what was your question, Eva?
Just confirming that next Monday is our
Yes, next Monday is our last class, and then the week after that, we will have no class because I will be at the beach. We still don't have a definite answer what class is being held next. There was a request that John teach his 5 Steps to Freedom class, and then John's usually the lead teacher on the prosperity class, so he's not sure that he wants to have a 4-month commitment while he's launching his new career as a business speaker and someone to work with businesses. He's not sure he wants for the next 4 months to be committed on Monday nights here. So if that's the case, then Kate Wagner will have a treatment class on Tuesdays, like she often holds for mysticism and Trillard and Kate Grayson. I'm sorry. Kate Grayson. Whoa! Maybe I'm being prophetic.
Way to step up to the plate.
Kate Grayson will have the treatment class. And how many people have taken classes with Kate? I think she's fantastic. I watched her on the video. Awesome.
Yeah, she is.
And then I will be teaching a class on Ernest Holmes' This Thing Called You, which is not a heady class. It's a real heart class.
Good.
It's a beautiful book, and it touches the spirit of the teaching. It touches the who are you? You are God itself. You are a divine being. You are perfect in every way. You are love and you are joy. And it's what? After I get back from the beach. Next week is the last class. Then no class. Then the following week, 1 of 2 classes will be starting.
You said that Kate will teach class on Tuesdays, not Mondays.
Right. Kate will teach a treatment class if John is not teaching on Mondays. My guess is John's not going to be teaching on Mondays. He'll teach the prosperity class over the summer. And then Kate will teach a treatment class on Tuesdays, and I will treat this thing called You. Does somebody have a date? This week, next week, the following week? What's the week after that?
It's the 9th.
The 9th? No, I don't come back till the 14th. The 16th of May. 16th of May.
Well, there'll be books in the bookstore for.
By the 16th of May, there will. There will. I think we've got like 50 5 Steps to Freedoms coming for a class that's, oh, but Kate will teach it. So that Kate Grayson will teach it. So that's great. That's
Oh, but
great.
I've got that.
Good.
Years ago, when John taught it,
Right, right, that was before he became president.
Yeah.
Remember? Okay, so one of the things that Charles Haanel says about your mental images, he gives you some ideas of how they should be. He says that your demonstration will be directly proportional to your depth of impression. So how deeply are you impressing this idea upon yourself, upon subjective mind, upon the universe? If you just go, hello, thank you, Jack. If you just go, oh, I've got this fleeting thought and that's all the energy I'm going to give to it, you're not going to get a big demonstration. But if you work it and you focus on it and you build the energy into it, you enliven it and empower it, he says that will have a direct result on the level of your demonstration. Next he says that it's related to the predominance of the idea. What is the dominance that that idea has in your consciousness? I'm in the middle of reading somebody's book with Keller Williams called The One Thing. And he talks about how there's one thing that is really important to you. And if you want to create that, you have to focus on the one thing. And you compare other things. Well, is this as important as that? Because so often we put the thing that's important to us on the back shelf because there are all of those urgent things, you know, the box with the urgent, important, and so many times people spend the majority of their time on not urgent or urgent and not important. And he's saying that you have to ask yourself every day, what is my one thing? If your one thing is writing a book, you got to get up and write the book. You got to start writing. If your one thing is to open up a business, you got to take action towards that. Otherwise, it's just a dream that never comes. Your one thing, my sister, if I can use that, is painting. How often do you paint?
Every day.
Every day you
Yeah,
paint.
I do something.
She's got stacks of oil paintings that she paints because she paints every day because that's her one thing. When I had a 1-acre garden, my one thing was the garden. And I would get up in the morning and I would garden, often all day. Sometimes I would garden in the middle of the night because it was cooler. I remember planting a native section by the light of the full moon. I was out there with a tiller and seeds, and then I roped it all off and never went back in it. It was so cool. It was filled with all kinds of fairies and angels and all kinds of stuff out there. But that was the one thing. That's the one thing I wanted to do when I was going to school. School was the one thing. If I waited until after I did all of the things that I needed to do, washed my clothes, cooked food, you know, took a nap, did all of that, I would never get school done. I had to get up and do the school. That was my one thing. So how dominant is the thought in your consciousness of what you want? If you're wanting to demonstrate health and you've got pain, then how much energy do you give to the pain and how much energy do you give to the health? Because if you talk about the pain all day and then once in the morning you go, and I know my body is in perfect vibrant health, that's not going to do it. Your dominant thought is pain. I'm going to sneeze. He says that it's directly related to the clarity of your vision. And that doesn't mean micromanaging. But what is your vision? I have a vision of a world where everybody is awake. Everybody is awake. That's my vision. We did a visioning, which is not the same thing as a vision, as a board a number of years ago. I don't know if you weren't there. But one of our members, Zeb Fry, came and he led us, were you there? Led us on a visioning, and at the end he said, and what is your end-all be-all, whatever? And people were going this and that, and I said, I want to change the world. That has always been my vision, that everybody on the planet wakes up. Everybody remembers who they are. So if that's my vision, then what is it that takes away from that and what adds to it? The clarity of our vision of this center is that we are here to teach science of mind, to empower people through the teachings of science of mind, not through Reiki, not through, I was going to say Tantra Yoga, but then Kristen did a workshop on Tantra Yoga and science of mind. So not through, I mean, people have come in and tried to turn us into a, what is it that Est turned into recently? Starts with an R, not a Renaissance group. There's some kind of a word, and it was in Raleigh, and they were going, oh, you need to turn your center into one of these. I said, no, I don't. This is a science of mind center. We teach science of mind, which is that you are spiritual beings creating your experience, that the entire universe supports you in all that you are magnificent beyond your wildest dreams, connected to everything and everywhere and everywhen. You are the divine. That's what I am teaching people. And if it's anything that doesn't come into alignment with that, all I need to do is check it out and go, well, how does this relate to our vision, our purpose? And things become very clear. And I've held that vision for 22 years as this center. And we've had a lot of people come and try to, it's a great place. It's 6 acres and this beautiful facility that's close to paid off. Hey, let me just come in and take all your stuff and take all your people and run my number to everybody. No, that's not in alignment with what we are doing. It's not about multi-level marketing. It's not about the vitamin that you take or the oil that you inhale or anything like that. It's about the presence of God inside of you, and that is the only thing that it is about. So how clear is your vision of what it is you want to manifest? Can you see the train at the end of the track? And if you can, the rest of the track has to manifest for that train to have gotten there. And then the fourth one is the boldness of your image. Well, I just want enough to get by. Really? That's all you want? You got the entire universe saying whatever you want? I just want to get by. That's all I want.
Genie gives you 3 wishes and all you want is some.
Really? Really? So what is it that you, Joe, were saying was big, and you, Jane, was saying it's big? What is the bigness that is trying to come forth through us? For me, if it's anything less than total world transformation, it's not big enough. And I believe that we could all wake up just like that. Just like that. I believe that the people that are acting out are doing so because at some soul level there is an agreement to play that role. That there is a huge healing taking place on this planet. And that we collectively are waking up and rising up back into the love and the light that we always have been. Because any other paradigm for me is less than God is all there is. And I won't go there, no matter how tempting it may be. I'm not going to go there. So I believe that it is possible for all of us to awaken. I believe that we awaken as soon as we step over the veil. As soon as we go over to the other side, we've awakened. It's love, it's light, it's joy. And then for some reason we come back over here and we get all dense.
How did you word, I'm sorry, how did you word number 4? What was number 4 again?
Boldness.
The clarity of the vision.
Clarity.
Oh, no, that's 3.
Your image.
Boldness. 4 is boldness of the image. I had to look at my paper, not for the ideas, but to count them and see which one it was. Be bold in your creation. You've got the power of the entire universe supporting you. Don't settle for less than your divine inheritance. What, Jane?
I wondered what it's a clear vision and a bold vision, and what are the other 2?
It is the depth of your impression, the predominance of the idea. How much do you think about it? The clarity of the vision and the boldness of the image. How much do you think about it? People who are caught by something that they have to do, they think about it all the time. They think about it all the time. And then he goes on to talk about this idea of deity, whatever God is. And when you're making a bold vision, a bold image, and you're moving out, stepping out into faith to create something big in life, if you have a sense that you don't deserve to do that you can't do that, or that there is some kind of anthropomorphic power that is going to stop you from doing that, then you have obstacles in your way. And so it's important for me to constantly revisit this idea of what kind of a God do we have? What kind of a God do we have? There's this saying that says there are no atheists in a foxhole. But what kind of a God do you go to there? Oh, God, please save me. Please help me. If you do this, then I will. I'll be good. I'll go to church. I'll give all my money to the poor. You know, I'll never swear or drink or visit those houses anymore. I won't do that. I won't do that. I'll change who I am if you will save me. That's not the kind of God that works once you're out of the foxhole. Once you're out in the world and you're creating your life, how are you experiencing this infinite, absolute power that is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent? How is that working? If God is all powerful and you are helpless and bad, then you're in a pickle. You are. If you feel guilty about who you are and what you want and whether or not you can have that, and then you give yourself a giant anthropomorphic deity that's going to say, you don't get that, too big for your britches, whatever the phrase may be, then you've set yourself up to fail. Joe?
I was just going to say, at that point, I believe, and you're claiming that you aren't. It doesn't run through you, and you're letting that power. You're just putting it outside yourself.
Exactly.
That's one thing I see in a lot of religion or some stuff around here is that they take it and they take it out of you.
Right. So they can control you.
Yeah, fear-based.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you have to go through an intermediary, which could be Jesus, it could be the priest, whatever it is, if there is something between you and the divine, then you don't have the power. And so then it comes to negotiations and bartering, and we're working a deal and buying a car at a used car lot. And that's not spirituality. Spirituality is an awakening of the presence within us. And I'm not saying that goes on for all people in all religions, but it goes on in a lot, and there's value in that to the religion, to keep people down. You know, I'm going to blow myself up because it's the will of Allah. I don't think it's the will of Allah for someone to blow themselves up and to take out 50 other people with them. I don't think that is what Spirit wants. But when we connect with it ourselves, and we open up to that divine presence and we feel that love, then everything changes. So I want you to check yourself out and just go ahead and do it now. What kind of a God do you have? Do you have a God that you negotiate with? And maybe it's, well, I'll do a bunch of spiritual mind treatments and then I know you'll give me this. Instead of, I'm going to move into a state of knowing where that which already is revealed in my life. What kind of a God do you have? Michaela.
I'm just going to be honest and say that I'm still working on that.
How old are you? At 11, Michaela is still working on it. It's a good thing to work on. It's a good thing to work on. I remember my first mother-in-law was 100% Sicilian, and she was raised Catholic, and she believed that if she got a candle of St. Anthony, who has since been defrocked, and she lit it and said a prayer, that by the time the candle burned out, one of those 7-day candles, by the time it burned out, she would have what she wanted. That was her God. And as long as she did what she was supposed to do, she went to Mass, I don't know what else, rules she had for herself, but she went to confession, she went to Mass, and she lit that candle. And the candle was the key. And by the time it was done, she had whatever she had prayed for. And what was going on was that she had a belief that if she lit the candle, she would get what she wanted. So she lit the candle and she got what she wanted, but she used this intermediary step. Because the idea of dualistic languaging, forgive me, standing face to face with God itself has got to be a little overwhelming. Just the idea of opening up to the love and the light that moves through us while we're in meditation or whatever it is we're doing can be overwhelming. That's why it comes out your eyes sometime. And you come out of meditation and your face is wet because it filled you up to overflowing. And so there are a lot of people, my second husband, my second husband, who was a Science of Mind minister, had a grown son who was a Church of God Pentecostal member, and the conversations went like this. You were raised in Science of Mind. Why would you have gone, why did you go there? Why are you raising your kids in that? Dad, I want someone to tell me what to think, what to say, and what to do. And he was really clear. He was really happy. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. Tell me what to think, tell me what to say, and I'll say it. But the idea that we are creating our reality, do you realize how far out this is? That the actual molecules of our existence are a manifestation of our thought, what we focus on, what we're willing to accept into our lives, and that it's all about us. But us is not a selfish little us. Us is this connection with all that is, this love and this joy and this wonderful experience called life. That's the us that it is. But it can be very overwhelming to people. I'm just going to turn this air conditioner off because I see you people freezing.
I'm fine.
Thank you.
So think about what your idea of deity is. Do you have a concept that you can have whatever you want? That if you can think it, it exists. And if it exists, it is yours. It's not anybody else's. And that which is yours can't be taken from you, and that which is not yours you can never keep. So that which is yours is yours. Do you have a concept that there is some kind of spirit, the divine, whatever you want to call it, this creative motion of life itself that is supporting you in having exactly what you want? Can you go there? And I like to couple that with this feeling that I am so loved that whatever that creative force is, it is its greatest pleasure to bring that forth into manifestation for me. And anything that is less than that, you are taking the infinite and limiting it based on your unhealed beliefs and that which you think you deserve. One of the reasons that I want to teach this thing called you in the next class is that it is just so empowering. It's not empowering in rah, rah, rah. It's empowering in you are precious. You are so loved. You are so important. You know, and to move into that, we've done Wallace Wattles and we've done Charles Haanel, and it's time to move into that heart space that says, I've never done anything wrong. I cannot separate myself from all that is. I am perfect just the way I am. And I am deeply, deeply loved. And when you move into that space, you open up to what you can accept that has always been offered you. You know, it's like God's going around going, here, you're hungry, have something to eat. Look, I got the whole table here. Come on, let me help you. Come have some. Oh, no, I've got to suffer and struggle and starve. And then finally we go, wow, I can have more than enough. I don't have to be hungry all the time. I can have great food. This is a great life, beautiful planet, wonderful food. And all of a sudden we notice what's been there all the time.
Moldy cheese.
Pardon me?
Moldy cheese now.
No, not moldy cheese. You're so funny. So there's only the now. Mold needs time. There's only the now. But when we can move into that space, that yes, we can, then things vanish. You know, that was a a pivotal moment for one of our members that had just been diagnosed with a 5% chance of survival. And she just, coincidence, right, happened to come to the center. John and I had happened to come home late on Saturday night from a trip, and I was speaking, and I said, I want to do something about yes, I can. And so we brainstormed about when the diagnosis says no, what do you say? Yes, I can. And I had the whole room chanting that. Were you there? Do you remember that?
No.
It was great. Well, because it was. And the woman said that was the pivotal point where I decided, yes, I can. They told me I was going to die. The question is, can I live? And I said, yes, I can. And she's alive and well today. So when we have this shift, it allows us to move into a yes, I can consciousness, no matter what the outside is saying. You know, you're bankrupt, you'll never be okay again. Boy, you look at the really wealthy people, I mean, look at Donald Trump, he's gone bankrupt 3 times. So no, that doesn't determine your financial state. Oh, well, I've been left, I've been abandoned, I've been divorced, means I'll never be loved again. That's absurd. Look at me. Of course you can. Whatever it is we use to reference ourselves on the outside by saying that no, we can't be, do, have what it is for us to be, do, and have as a part of all that is infinite in our scope, then we have to relook at that and say, no, you don't rule me. It's like that old Malcolm in the Middle song, you're not the boss of me. You're not the boss of me now. Anybody watch Malcolm?
Yeah.
Days ago, yeah. So to look at that and say, no, you're not the boss of me yet, I can. I don't need that. I don't need you. I don't need anything outside of myself, because according to Charles Haanel, the world without is a reflection of the world within. I can go within myself, visualize it, own it, grab hold of it, have it, and then it has to show up on the world without, no matter how far-fetched it is, no matter how impossible it is, no matter how nobody's ever done it before. If we were limited to what anyone had ever done before, there would be no evolution, no growth. We're always doing things nobody's ever done before. And when we connect with that sense that the universe is supporting us, instead of, I don't know about you, but I was raised with an anthropomorphic, male, angry, judgmental. I'm really trying to just clean it up here. With a deity that didn't like me because I was basically flawed. Everybody told me I was flawed. And that I would never be able to be the kind of person who got the perks from the God that the other people had. I got the mad one that was just out to get me every day. And to be able to let that go, because then all I would do is create that I deserved to be punished, and so I was. That I couldn't have enough, and so I didn't. That life was a struggle, and so it was. And then I could go from creating that to embracing this idea that says, if a unity has to exist, there cannot be any missing spot. So if I were to be removed from the unified field or the whole of consciousness, there would be something missing, and that everything would fall apart. That my very presence is so critical that I hold the very fabric of the universe together. That in order for God to exist, I have to hold the space of Barbara Waterhouse. Now when you start to look at yourself that way, you go from being, a mistake, an accident, a problem, to being important and valuable, and then you move it into this idea that the feeling of the universe is love. Then that space that I hold has to be all of the love manifested at the point of me now. So not only do I have great value and worth, but I have deep, deep love. It's hard to stay screwed up when you start playing in those realms. I've always said that the first 2 steps of treatment are better than any amount of therapy. Spirit is all that there is, and that is what I am. I am pure light. I am divine love. That is the only thing that I can be, the only thing that I have ever been, and the only thing that I will ever be. It is the truth of me. It is really hard to be neurotic when you're in that space. And even if you just go there occasionally and glimpse it and grab it, you know, it's like going around on the merry-go-round and grabbing the golden ring. You've got that awareness of who you are, and it changes everything. It just changes everything. And so revisit what you think God is. If you inherited the God of your father, you know, the God of our fathers, if you inherited that one, get rid of it. Disinherit it. Throw it out. Take it out with the trash. If you have to sit with and see, what can I accept? How much love can I accept? How much support can I accept? How much of this can I really take in? Then fill yourself up to your limit and just be with that for a while. You don't have to be all enlightened by next week, but begin to embrace the idea that whatever it is you want, you can have. Whatever it is. And it's important for us to be mindful. If we want world dominion, I believe we can have that, but I believe that it won't work out well. That's why it's important for us to be aware of our thoughts, to stay in the love. Like Wallace Wattles said when we were doing the signs of getting rich, that if you're going to get rich, you have to create a way that everyone with you can get rich with you. That the truly wealthy person casts down ladders for others to climb up following them. That it's a win-win. That was before they had the phrase win-win. That it's a win-win for everybody, instead of dealing in the competitive world, which is, there's only one, so I better get it before you do. You know, that's why it's okay for Rob Morgan to go to Unity. It's okay. Everything is fine. Everything is great. Everything is perfect. So when we stay in that it's a win-win for everybody, then we open up to greater levels of good. I believe that which is ours, that which is not ours, we cannot keep. So whatever it is, let it go. If it's a job, if it's a relationship, if it's a car, you know, if it's your old jeans that are just falling apart and they're not sexy anymore, they're just ratty, let it go. Consider that, let it go. And know that because we live in this expanding universe, there always has to be more coming into our experience. And I think that anytime anybody gets fired or gets ditched or whatever, they come into my office crying about, it's like, no, something better pushed that out of your experience. That you had to be pushed out of that so that you can be where you're supposed to be. And so consider what your deity is, because subconsciously we give that a lot of power. And I would rather have a deity that is always, hey Barbara, how you doing? Can I help? Let's do it. Let's go. Whatever that is, let's go. I got it all taken care of. Just grab my hand and let's go.
Right.
I know that's dualistic languaging, but it's difficult to talk about the infinite without using some kind of dualistic languaging. I would rather have, I see you, Michaela. I would rather have that. I would rather have that and have clearly defined that by investing time. It's like that important but not urgent category. Recreate your idea of God. Not urgent, you're not in a foxhole, but it's important. It's important so that when you move out to, wow, I really want to do this, I feel this, I want to put on a play, I want to create something, I want to do that, but I don't have any money, I don't know how to do it. All I have is this feeling that I want to do it. When that happens to you, you know that you have the entire universe to lean on, to bring you through, to lift you up in that. Yes, Michaela.
And when you said let me get it out. When you said like it's a job, when you're letting that go, it's like a new thing's pushing itself in, like a tube.
Like a tooth, what a great example of an 11-year-old. When the baby tooth gets loose, you don't get the hammer and pound it back in. There's something else that you cannot see that is pushing it out. And you have to let it go. Well, Michaela, I'm going to use that. Maybe if I remember, I'll give you credit. So if you live in a universe that supports you and loves you, and if you feel that you deserve to have the best things in life, that you're not trying to hurt anybody else or take anything away from anybody else, that you live in an abundant world where there's more than enough for all, when you move into that state on the world within, the world without gets magical. And people start to say, oh, you're so lucky. Oh, things just work out for you. Well, yeah, because you've created that on the world within. It's truly every molecule in our experience is created by us. So how we organize them and put them together is worth our time and our energy of focus. Any questions? What is your name?
Carl?
Hi, Carl. Have you been here before? No. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, I got a husband at home, so take that with you.
Hey, Michaela, but if you're bent on world domination, you want to put your lair inside of an extinct volcano and get really cool swivelly chairs and a cat. And henchmen are very important. They do what you're saying.
And what we do is we bless it, because we bless everything. Everything in our lives is a blessing. Everything that we give gives that blessing with it, because we are all points of spirit, which is the blessing. And so I know that everything in our hands is blessed. That as we give, we receive, because we set spiritual law in motion. I know that right here and right now, we open up to infinite ways that life has to give to us. We open up our minds to infinite possibilities. God has ways of giving us money that we have never even dreamed of yet. We open up our hearts to realize how precious, how loved we are, how we deserve to have this rich and wonderful life. And then we open up our hands and let the gift go, knowing that it goes out and does its good work, that the universe multiplies it and brings it back to us. I know that each one of us are part of a greater whole. And we come together this night to make this center all that it was ever meant to be. It is a place of peace, a beacon of light, a tower of strength, and a fountain of wisdom that touches the lives of all who call it home. And so it is. Hold the energy. I can see it spin. Energy spins. You feel it as it spins round and round. We are not as weak as our weakest link. What a limited way to look at life. We are as strong as the strongest one here. We are as rich as the richest one here. We are as powerful as the most powerful one here. We lift each other up into greater and greater levels of prosperity, of health, of joy, of happiness. And so I know that everything in these baskets is blessed. Because every time we give anything, that which we are goes with our gift. There's only one. And what there's only one means is that we are all connected and we are all one. And so as the being of light and love that each of us is, as we opened up and gave whatever our gift, whether it comes through PayPal, the donation station, mailed in from our banks, or through the auto-giving program, or whether it was something physically put in these baskets. Whatever we give is a part of us, a part of the light, a part of the love of spirit as us And so I see it as light and love. I see it as it fills up this room from the floor to the ceiling, all between the walls. This air is rich and blessed with Spirit as us. And as Spirit moves in our lives, things happen. So right here and right now, we are touched. We are blessed. We are healed. And I know that that energy cannot be locked up in a room, no matter how great, no matter how wonderful the people. And so off it goes to surround this world, to remind every being on this planet that we are spirit and form, we are magnificent, we are beings of love, and we are beings of light. And then I see it shoot out into the heavens to continue to do its work on an infinite level. I know that that energy is always here and always now, touching every one of us here tonight, everyone who has ever been here, and everyone yet to come. And so it is. I love you guys. Have a wonderful week. Maybe I'll see you on Wednesday. I'll definitely see you on Sunday. Yes. Saturday for the meeting, and then Sunday is covered.